groups like Pools of Pay, groups like rent strikers across the UK have put a lot of pressure on these people within, senior management roles, vice chancellors and the likes. We know that they've been in conversation with each other. We know that for certain. And we know that they have been sort of holding out on, giving into our demands or even having the conversations, opening up the rooms of discussion. The way it's functioning, the way we've understood it to function, it's very simple. It's a neoliberal system of management whereby there's no one to take the blame and no one to answer for when it comes to these difficult situations. So it's like, you ask about the these potential conversations that we've had with our senior management teams. The few of us who managed to have meetings with them were told, we've got no money.
The neoliberalisation model that's infected university learning, the learning experience, has also changed the fascia of universities. In his book, The Talent Code, a man called Coyle writes about what he calls chicken wire Harvards. And chicken wire Harvards are where great talents can go, and the facilities aren't amazing, but they are adequate. But it does mean that then people aren't distracted by the flashing lights of wonderful state-of-the-art. They can actually do the work in a more humble environment. Has too much capital been spent on campuses to make them look sort of shiny?
Absolutely. I mean, you just have to take a look at the Central St. Martin's campus in King's Cross. The building itself houses bougie cafes and restaurants. It's got this huge, shiny water feature fountain in front of it. Huge amounts of capital have been invested in commercial outlets all around that area. It just doesn't really represent an art school anymore. So you really have to ask yourself, how far can this system of higher education really go? There's actually quite an interesting stat that's come out recently out of a survey done by the Institute of Economic Affairs, which shows that 73% of young people are actually quite favorable of socialism and don't really agree with capitalism anymore. So that tells me that the next generation of students probably won't want to subscribe to this mode of learning. They just want to get on with the learning and just be in a space which accommodates their creativity in some way.
These students don't want the bells and whistles anymore. What they want are practical spaces, humble spaces that allow them to express their talent. But the neoliberal investor, the neoliberal dean, the neoliberal stakeholder, shareholder, whatever you want to call it, will come with the argument, they've never had it so good. When I were a lad, we had outside loos and all that stuff. And now they've got bougie, as you put it, bougie cafes, they've got things. The point is the students don't want these. True or false?
I mean, yeah, of course they don't want it, because if they're going to try and say, oh, you've never had it so good, I highly doubt that students back then were in this much debt. I highly doubt that students back then were paying so much rent for places that they can't even use. I don't want a massive water feature built on campus when we've got students dealing with mold and rats. Are you joking me?
Right.
I think it's ridiculous. Like, it's just smoke and mirrors to try and hide the fact that the capital needs to be invested into the students, and you need to stop exploiting students as well.
You can almost hear the neoliberals going, "You're a radical Marxist. What's wrong with water features?"
Right.
I think that's also such an issue where when we're asking for just a basic standard of living, that's going to be painted as like radical Marxism. It's just this annoying culture war that's been created because of just students deserving better and wanting better than what we're currently being given.